Snapshot 24W33A kicks off the snapshot cycle for Minecraft 1.21.2 and brings us Data Pack version 49 with data-driven goat horn instruments, new item components, changes to attributes, recipes, and more. My name is Slime and this is a guide to all the changes. Let's start with instruments. That is a new registry folder for goat horn instruments. Each instrument has a sound event field describing the sound that the instrument plays. As usual with sound events, keep in mind that custom sounds need a special format. The range field is the maximum range in blocks at which the instrument can be heard. The use duration is the amount of time in seconds the instrument is considered to be in use after triggering, which also doubles as its cooldown. And description is a text component with the description of the instrument as it appears in a tooltip. As usual with data-driven registries, this data is experimental and needs a full world reload to take effect. Let's talk about item components. There are two new component types in this version, starting with repairable. This component marks that a damageable item can be repaired, and the items field is an item ID, list of item IDs, or hashtagged item tag describing which items are used to repair it. The enchantable component marks that an item can be enchanted in an enchanting table. An item both needs this component and for some enchantments to be applicable to show up in the enchantment table. The format is a value field that is a positive integer. Higher values allow higher cost enchantments to be picked. Some other component fixes in this version. The container loot component is now removed from containers once they are opened. The item name and custom name components no longer override the name of a written book. And item stacks with more items than the default stack limit now work properly with the recipe book. The format used for ingredients in recipes is now more similar to how items are represented in other files. This means an ingredient is an item ID, list of item IDs, or hashtagged item tag like elsewhere, instead of objects with either item or tag fields. The fields in smithing trim and smithing transform recipes that would previously accept empty lists as representations of no ingredients are now instead optional. In addition, the special recipe type for suspicious stew has been removed and the vanilla suspicious stew recipes replaced with shapeless recipes. In attribute news, attributes no longer have prefixes for which entity types use them, like generic dot, player dot, and zombie dot. In addition, a number of fixes have been made to the follow range attribute not working for some mob types, only working for horizontal distances, and also impacting mobs' random wandering distance. A new range attribute called tempt range has been added for the distance at which temptable mobs can be tempted. The data for painting variants has changed in this version. There are new optional fields for author and title, which replaces the previous mechanism of those translation keys being derived from the ID of the painting. Both fields are text components. Let's talk about loot tables. A number of new loot tables have been added in this version for shearing many different mobs. Loot tables for shearing sheep can be found under shearing sheep followed by the die name of the collar. Mushroom shearing is now under shearing mushroom followed by the variant name, and snow golem shearing is now shearing snow golem. Enchantment effect news. There's now support for the projectile spawned effect in snowballs, tridents, small fireballs, thrown potions, ender pearls, firework rockets, wind charges, eggs, and for the bobber of a fishing rod. A bug has also been fixed with projectile spawned effects running before all the projectile entity data had been set. Some fixes for attribute effects as well, where attribute effects did not stack properly when used inside location-based effect triggers, and attributes no longer remain if an item is destroyed by a damage item effect. Command and function fixes in this version. Having an invalid selector pattern in a text component now cause a command to fail to parse instead of silently resolving to an empty string. The schedule command now fails with an error message if used with a macro function instead of silently doing nothing. And scheduled functions now have their own section in performance reports instead of being counted to the weather section. Giving absurdly large amount of damage using the damage command no longer breaks the internal data of absorption and health for an entity. Teleporting entities from force-loaded chunks no longer makes them fail to render. The command feedback for the set idle timeout command now properly reflects the function of setting the value to 0. And command blocks pick blocked out of the world now properly activate when placed down next to active redstone. Some news about entities and data. TNT and TNT minecart entities now have an optional field called Explosion Power, which determines the power of the explosion just like you could already do for creepers. The default value is 4, and for TNT minecarts this power is added to the explosion power calculated from the speed of impact. The name tags and passenger positions of interaction entities are now in the right place. Text displays now render the same way as name tags of an entity. You can now set the Can Break Doors data tag on Drowned. Some certain fields like Can Pick Up Loot used to require specifying the data type and no longer do. Wither skulls are now positioned correctly on the first tick of their existence and can therefore be selected by position-based selectors. And the item data of a decorated pot is now correct when picked up using the pick block function. In tag news, the villager picks up item tag has been added controlling which items a villager will try to pick up from the ground. The furnace minecart fuel item tag controls which items can be used to fuel a furnace minecart, and a set of new tags has been added controlling the item types used for crafting tiered tools, which also controls what items can be used to repair items on that tier. And there's a new damage type tag, Mace Smash. It contains the damage type, Mace Smash. Speaking of damage types, there are 2 new ones, Mace Smash and Ender Pearl. An advancement fix. The using item trigger now stops triggering properly when a player teleports to another dimension. And a predicate fix. The movement predicate now gives the right result for stationary players the first second, even if they don't move their mouse. Let's wrap up this pack version with the changes to custom world generation formats. A bug has been fixed with the sea level being hard-coded to 63 in some places, which affected both various mobs spawning, some legacy structure placements, and biome temperature adjustments. The carver types have been removed. This means the carvers field in biomes now directly lists carvers instead of listing them per carver type, of which only air was previously used. The carving mask placement modifier has also been removed. Geode features no longer ignore the invalid blocks field, and Zoglins now properly use the regular monster spawning requirements when set to spawn naturally in a biome. That's all for Datapack version 49. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, YouTube provides a handy button for that purpose down below. My name is Sliced Lime, and I'll see you next time.